Welcome to USA News Channel. Please like and subscribe for the first get new video update from us. Thank you.
The Chinese and South Korean presidents are meeting in Beijing, with North Korea and a controversial missile defense system expected to dominate the agenda. The meeting marks Moon Jae-in's first official visit to the country. Moon received a warm welcome at the Great Hall of the People and is currently meeting with his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping. On the issue of North Korea, observers say the two leaders are expected to discuss the importance of avoiding military action against the North because of the consequences it could have for both countries. They also say Xi is expected to ask Moon to support a so-called freeze-for-freeze strategy. It calls for the North to suspend its nuclear and missile development, and in exchange, the U.S. and South Korea would halt their joint military exercises. But Washington has rejected the idea. Relations between the two countries soured after the installation of an American anti-missile system in South Korea. Beijing fears the THAAD system could be used to spy on its military. But both countries agreed to move past the issue a couple months ago. Seoul has pledged not to deploy any more of the units. Seoul wants Beijing to end its economic retaliation, including a tourism ban and a boycott of some goods. So far, both sides have said there will not be a joint statement issued after the leaders' meeting.
Well, you're absolutely right, Kevin. So the first day of the South Korean president's trip here in Beijing has mostly focused on promoting business opportunities, clearly reflected by the massive delegation made up of over 220 top executives from the nation's largest firms that he's traveling with. But the key event of Mr. Moon's state visit to China has yet to take place, and it will take place in just a few hours from now. President Moon started off the day in a rather untraditional manner, however. He and the First Lady went to a local diner nearby Diayutai, the state guest house here in Beijing, to enjoy breakfast with the locals the way the locals enjoy. He then attended the opening ceremony of the Korea-China Economic and Trade Partnership, which we are still in the process of learning the details from, because there seems to have been an episode between Korean press, the Korean reporters, and Chinese security guards. So we'll have to wait and see what kind of an episode there has been, and we're just learning the details now. Kevin.
Here's senior foreign affairs correspondent Greg Palcott.
South Korea getting into the missile launching act today, test firing a medium-range missile capable of hitting targets in North Korea. South Korean President Moon Jae-in monitored the launch.
I believe in dialogue, but dialogue is possible when it's backed by strong defense. And engagement policy is only possible when we have security means that can stand up to the North.
According to Fox News reporting, there is a buildup this week of resources at North Korea's nuclear test site, as well as a test firing of an engine that could be used in an ICBM capable of targeting the U.S. Even North Korea ally Beijing is becoming concerned.
North Korea vowing to beef up their nuclear arsenal as nations around the world warn them it's time to stop. Dictator Kim Jong-un telling scientists he wants to increase the quality and number of deadly weapons. But Secretary of State Rex Tillerson says now is the time for diplomacy.
We're ready to talk anytime North Korea would like to talk. And we're ready to have the first meeting without precondition. It's not realistic to say we're only going to talk if you come to the table ready to give up your program. They have too much invested in it.
Last month, North Korea launched its most advanced missile yet, potentially capable of striking anywhere in the U.S.
The UN Security Council resolutions have clear restrictions over North Korea ballistic missile technology. China opposes any actions that violate the resolutions of the UN.
Capitol Hill is speaking out about the Kim Jong-un regime as well.
If it gets to a red line where we believe there is a real threat of North Korea delivering a nuclear weapon, which they have nuclear weapons, to our allies or to us, we have to have a military posture capable of destroying that infrastructure.
And Pyongyang broke its silence about about the death of Otto Warmbier, buried yesterday in his hometown in Ohio. The 22-year-old American college student was released last week after being held by North Korea for 18 months in an unresponsive state, suffering from brain damage. A North Korean government spokesman claiming reports Warmbier was tortured were groundless. That North Korea was targeted by a smear campaign, and Warmbier was the victim of policies of the administration of former President Obama. An Obama spokesman said there had been no higher priority than the release of Americans held in North Korea. President Trump will meet at the White House next week with South Korean President Moon. Discussions of what should be the current policy to rein in an increasingly aggressive North Korea will be front and center. James.
Greg Palcott in London, thank you.
Shattering development, that is for sure, and experts say it is highly unlikely that anyone is going to be found alive on board that submarine. Not only because of the explosion, and I'll get to that in a moment, but also because it is 9 days in and oxygen will most likely have run out. News of that explosion on the ARA San Juan broke yesterday. The sound was actually picked up by an international organization that listens out for illegal nuclear tests, and they heard it on the day the submarine went missing. And it was in fact the US that informed Argentina about this development yesterday. But despite this, the search continues, with more than a dozen international airplanes and ships participating. That initial search area covered over 185,000 square miles, an area larger than California. But now, just in the last day, that search area has been reduced dramatically as they try to pinpoint the location of that one explosion. Arthel?
And Benjamin, what do we know about the Argentinians on board?
Well, 44, as you say, including the only female submariner in the Argentine Navy. But we have seen video from on board the submarine now, which took place in 2014. And that was just after the submarine went through a refit that saw it cut in half to be updated. And some family members of the sailors have said that their loved ones complained about the state of the 215-foot vessel, which was built back in 1983. And family members have also acted very angrily after it emerged that there had been a long delay before anyone was even told about the disappearance. And that's because of military protocol that says they have to wait 48 hours before starting search efforts for any submarines lost at sea. And on top of this, the sea depth there is very, very deep. It's where the continental shelf drops off from 0.5 mile to 3 miles, so it may be a while till they find that sub.